All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our third strategy session in our Stand Up series. Our first webinar was on how to support nurses. Then our last one was on how to support first responders. And today we're going to talk about how brands are supporting doctors, especially right now during these uncertain times. So our agenda for today, we're going to talk about the total addressable market for doctors, their profile and psychographics, and then some brand, give some examples of brands that are reaching doctors today. We are delighted to have Erin Gusty from Seed join us, and we have an interview with her later in the presentation. And then lastly, Angela is going to dive into some best practices and helpful tips on how to reach doctors. So with that, our presenters today, Kara Hendricks, she's our Senior Product Marketing Manager here at ShareID, and Angela Modulewski is our Senior Marketing Strategist. And again, we're delighted to have Erin Gusty. She's our Director of E-commerce. She's the Director of E-commerce and Member Experience at Seed. So with that, I'm going to pass the ball over to Kara to get us started with the total addressable market, the profile and psychographics of doctors.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Colette, for that introduction. So I know doctors are a new market for a lot of brands today. But with current conditions, I know a lot of people are wondering about their demographics, their market potential, and the best way to really create messaging for this group. So I wanted to, kick us off with that type of information. So if we go to the next slide. So to kick that off, who are doctors? If we take a look at some of the general demographics here, first off, there's about 1.1 million licensed physicians in the US. And when we say physicians, we're talking about those licensed as an MD or as a DO. So physicians today are predominantly male, as you can see, with about 2/3 of doctors being male and 1/3 being female. When we look across the United States, the state of California has the largest population of physicians, with New York and Texas closely following. And then the doctor population includes a wide age range as well, since people spend a lot of time in school. 47 is that kind of median age range of doctors in the US. And then within that doctor population, what you're going to find is that there's over 120 different specialties, each with their own unique network, such as surgeons, pediatricians, pulmonologists, and more. So a lot having, a lot of unique characteristics there. Great, next slide. So as most of you know, doctors are definitely part of a high earning group, averaging a salary anywhere from $223,000 to $329,000 per year, but only after spending many years on their education and training. The average doctor comes out of school with nearly $200,000 in student loan debt. And when most people think of doctors, we think of doctors in our local hospital or doctor's office, employed by big companies, but actually 1 in 4 doctors are self-employed as part of their own private practice. And it's important to understand when you go to market to this group, their high rate of feeling burnout. Even prior to COVID-19 and this pandemic, 78% of doctors reported feeling burnt out at least sometimes during their career, which is a staggering number when you think about it, even before the new added stress of the pandemic right now. And so when you're marketing to this group, it's a great opportunity to really empathize, show appreciation, and recognize that hard work and dedication for helping others. If we go to the next slide. When you're marketing to doctors, this isn't just, long time established physicians. This is also going to include about 83,000 medical residents. And so these are the brand new doctors just entering the field, getting their extra training after their schooling, where they spend about 3 to 8 years, depending on their chosen specialty, doing that special training for that unique group. And as a resident, you're going to earn a fraction of the salary as an established physician at about $61,000 per year, but often working easily over 50 plus hours a week, and often doing 24-hour shifts as their normal day to day. So this is, so when you're thinking about doctors, definitely recognize that there's multiple kind of different levels that this includes. Next slide. So now that we kind of understand some of the background, the demographics, what those doctors look like, let's take a look at some brands that are reaching doctors today so you can understand some examples of what current doctor programs look like, as well as diving into some of the expectations brands right now. What's top of mind for people? What are they expecting to see from brands in their marketing and advertising today? Next slide. So when you're thinking about how to reach doctors right now, it's really important to consider general consumer expectations for your program messaging, because right now how you're acting and responding to this pandemic can really affect your brand reputation. And so I thought these 3 key points from a recent survey really stood out to me as things to think about as you're building a program for the healthcare community. And what those are is that a whopping 89% of consumers are expecting brands to offer free or lower price products to healthcare workers right now, as well as high risk individuals and those whose jobs have been affected by various closures and stay-at-home orders. And then 83% of consumers are expecting brands to issue those public statements that we've been seeing a lot of brands do right now, to express empathy and support for those impacted by the pandemic. And then 84% really look at brands thinking about how they're focusing their advertising. They really want to see brands shaping their message around how their product and service can help people cope with the pandemic related life challenges right now, and how they're helping people get through this time. So when you're thinking about program strategy and messaging, definitely consider these consumer expectations in your program when you're writing messaging and formulating your campaign. So let's take a look at a couple customer examples that have programs running right now. So a few examples of companies that have launched programs for doctors alongside other medical professionals. The first one being Lovesac. They have an awesome landing page for their thanking healthcare workers, first responders, military, and teachers, grouping that all together for a holistic heroes program, which is really awesome way to promote that, and offering that group 40% off their Saxon sectionals. And then we have Vineyard Vines, who is running a great promotion to recognize and show their appreciation for nurses and doctors and all healthcare workers, with a great offer of 15% off their total purchase, really having that message to show appreciation and thankful for their hard work right now. Next slide. And then 2 more great examples that we have are the North Face and Brooklyn Bedding. Both recently launched great offers for healthcare workers and medical professionals with a great offer for that group. And we're seeing a lot of great success. A lot of brands are starting to launch these programs in the past month or so, and we're seeing some great results. A lot of programs and customers are already seeing acquisition rates as high as 65% new to file customers, as well as one of our recent programs that launched has already seen 400,000 verifications to redeem that special offer. So that's been really exciting. All right, next slide. So one of our other customers, great customers that's been seeing success with doctors is Seed. So I'm super excited to introduce Aaron Gusty. from Seed. Welcome, Erin. Good to have you. And so, Erin, maybe if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about Seed and what your role is there.
Sure. As Colette kind of mentioned in the beginning, I'm the Director of E-commerce and Customer Experience at Seed. We are located in Los Angeles, in Venice, California, which is where Seed was born, from our two co-founders, Eric Katz and Raja Deer. So Seed is a life science and consumer health company, and our mission is really quite simple, and it's to realize the potential of microbes and how they may impact human and environmental health. So when I say microbes, I mean bacteria. On the human side of our work, we develop applications of probiotics with a goal of bringing precision and efficacy to the global probiotics market, which is currently ripe with misinformation. And you know, if you were to walk down the grocery aisle, you may see a probiotic tortilla chip, or you know, you go down the probiotics aisle and you see lactobacillus and a ton of different products, and don't quite know the extent to how important strain specificity is, and certain other elements. So really bringing a lot of education and understanding to probiotics and the probiotics industry. Our first product for humans is called the Daily Symbiotic, and it's a multi-strain probiotic. It has 24 clinically studied probiotic strains with a patented prebiotic compound, and the dose is 2 capsules per day. So it's available on a subscription basis. Our website is seed.com. And I think that wraps it up.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was a perfect intro. And so tell us a little bit more why doctors specifically are an important segment for Seed, and why you decided to create a personalized offer for them.
Sure. Yes. So as I mentioned, we are a science and health company, and with that, you know, healthcare workers are a cohort that we really respect deeply and are very inspired by, and kind of wouldn't be where we are today without them. Our ecosystem is made up of a lot of researchers and MDs and postdocs, and a lot of members of the scientific community and medical community. They dedicate their lives to improve the health of others. And I think when we first launched with Cheer ID and noticed that doctors were a segment that we could support, there was no question about it. We knew that we wanted to include them in our offer.
Yeah, that totally makes sense for your guys' brand. Thanks. So when looking at your offer and your program for doctors, what has been your strongest marketing channel so far today?
Yeah, so we actually haven't focused any marketing efforts on our segment discounts. We launched the program on Veterans Day last year. So I guess it's probably been somewhere 6 to 8 months ago. And we launched with one post on Instagram to let our community, our existing community, know that this was available. But otherwise, we haven't promoted our verification tool or any of our kind of cohort discounts on any of our channels. We haven't put any spend against it. When we initially launched it, it was really for a pure goodwill effort. We had a number of communities that were reaching out to us organically, and we were seeing that kind of inbound request of, hey, do you guys offer anything for nurses or for students? And again, just kind of with the mission of our brand, and we knew that we wanted to prioritize making this available to as many people as possible. Especially folks like in the military who may need it the most. So yeah, it's really just been, I know the next slide we're going to get into what it looks like in our checkout experience, but we haven't put any marketing efforts against the programs to date.
Yeah, that's super interesting and a good segue. I was curious about just kind of if you could describe that customer experience that you've implemented and what that looks like in your checkout. I think people would be really interested to see and hear about kind of what are your goals for having verification at certain points in that journey and checkout process?
Yep. So, so here on this slide, you can see what after you add to cart. Our product is actually currently on pre-order right now, which is why you see that it's $0. It's typically $49.99 a month. But here on the left-hand side is kind of what our checkout experience looks like, and you can see in the right module a option to drop down. And on the left image, you can see what that looks like expanded. So every cohort gets 15% off recurring, which we don't offer for, you know, when we work with partners or do podcasts and different promotions, our discounts are always just one time. So this is a really unique offer and really the only recurring discount that we offer as a company. So I'm not, is there another slide after this? Cool. So once you click to, this should look familiar to most people. We've just reskinned it a little bit. But once you click to verify, this is kind of what our verification module looks like. And then you can apply the code directly in checkout. So the way that we were really thinking about this, again, as I mentioned, launching the program as a goodwill effort when folks reach out to us and we can say, oh, yes, actually, we do offer a special program for doctors. That's wonderful that we're able to do that, but we also knew that we wanted to include it directly embedded in the checkout experience as one of those surprise and delight moments for somebody who's, you know, has intent to purchase and then makes it to our checkout funnel and then sees that they may be eligible for a discount.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like, it really seemed like this is a great program. And I think, yeah, the surprise and delight kind of component of it is great. So what plans, if you could share a little bit more, what plans do you have for the future of your doctor's program? Do you have any plans to grow or expand or kind of do anything else with this program for doctors?
So, you know, we've received a lot of interest from the medical community, and you know that could range from somebody who is a personal trainer to an MD to you know hospitals, kind of your smallest practitioners to very large organizations asking how they can share the Daily Symbiotic with their clients or patients. So, you know, we launched Seed in June of 2018, and really from the beginning, we've anecdotally seen a lot of this feedback from the medical community, mostly because of our, you know, robust scientific advisory board and our integrous approach to working with bacteria. And so given that, we're really right now working on the best way that we can support this community. And that could be through a number of different things like wholesale, consignment, through our website, our retail, et cetera. And we've been thinking a lot about it over the past 1+ years. So we're planning to launch a pilot program later this year and thinking about how we can really show up for this community, not only in our physical product, but also with a bunch of materials and education that we can provide to them. So yes, it's a community that we're really excited to serve and want to provide for them, given that, you know, folks are reaching out to us again every day. Yeah, so I guess my plug is to stay tuned, and there will be more coming later in the year. But we're currently, again, working through the most ethical and convenient way to support that community now.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I mean, it's such, I think, supporting the medical community and the doctor community is so top of mind for a lot of people. So I also wanted to give you the opportunity to share what else. I heard Seed is doing some really great things right now, in addition to, you know, having a great product that can help the doctor community, but doing other things related to kind of the pandemic right now and helping the healthcare community. Can you share a little bit more about what Seed's doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So um, it's obviously a very interesting time, and you know, at a time when a single pathogenic microbe has changed our world, it's a really, really unique moment to be a life sciences company, especially one that is kind of stewarding the application and understanding of microbes for good. So we've recognized over the past couple of years that one of our biggest superpowers is education, and kind of the integrous translation of scientific information. So with this kind of unprecedented time, we've seen and really leaned into a unique opportunity to show up and for one of these most meaningful missions of our work, which is, again, is the translation of science. So in late February, when COVID-19 started to emerge in the US, we kind of tapped into our ecosystem, scientists, doctors, researchers, bio artists, poets, really across the board, to compile a COVID-19 Instagram highlight to really help folks make sense of the headlines, and also kind of the resulting infodemic and misinformation that was happening towards the beginning. So over the past months, we've continued to iterate on that and update with key resources. One that was particularly fun, and you know, we got a lot of engagement with, was our work from home guide. So yeah, you can view all of this information on our Instagram if you're interested. They're all in our highlights, and we have a lot of resources around COVID-19 and really translating exactly what's going on. And yes, that's and then I know kind of one of the things that we talked about prior to, we've kind of overnight gotten into supporting folks with PPE. So we recognized that, and it became really clear and urgent a few weeks ago, that there was a problem with mask sourcing and gowns and sanitizer and a number of other personal protective equipment. So we tapped into our international networks and supply chain to help source KN95 respirators. So kind of it was a really wild moment for us as a company. And within 24 hours, our partners helped us source and vet options in APAC and Europe. And we were able to expedite an FDA import license in just one day. So Seed actually became a medical device importer. And we finalized all of our fulfillment processes. We connected with the heads of procurement at major hot zone hospitals and other first responder organizations to both provide donation and fulfill purchase orders. And we've since donated to hospitals, police and fire departments, organizations supporting homeless communities, and staff at elderly care facilities. So it's been a really incredible opportunity for us, and one that is super meaningful in this time. And the one other note I just wanted to say on that is, if anyone on the call knows anyone that's involved with PPE procurement or distribution, I believe you included my email in the deck, but they can, of course, feel free to reach out to me, and I can connect them with our head of operations, who's kind of spearheading this project at Seed to help source masks or whatever equipment is needed.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's all so cool that you guys were able to pull that together so quickly and kind of respond quickly with that type of action and with the PPE. That's so cool. and so needed right now. So I know a lot of people are thinking about, what they can do right now, what types of programs they can run for doctors and other healthcare community. Everyone's thinking about what they can do right now. What are those best practices? What should they tactfully be doing with their program? So I wanted to pass it over to Angela from our team to really talk about those best practices when you're building your program and thinking about marketing to doctors and the rest of the healthcare community.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to talk just a little bit. I'll be brief, but I wanted to kind of dive into some of the best practices and some of the things that we're really seeing that are working well for our clients, so that you can learn from them and learn from what we've seen when you're implementing your own programs. So one of the most important things is to make sure that your offer is unique and that it's one of the best offers or the best offer that you have out there. So I'm going to show you Purple's program. It's a program that follows all of our best practices, and they're just doing a really nice job with their campaigns and with their program for doctors and nurses and other first responders. So you can see this is their coupon page. It shows all the coupons, promo codes, and discounts that they currently have available. And there's nothing on this page that's better than the 10% discount that they are offering to healthcare professionals. So they really do have a unique offer out there that is special for this demographic. Erin mentioned that with Seed, that most of their codes or all of their other codes are one-time use only, and that their programs for doctors, nurses, and other first responders and other segments are evergreen, and that they could be reoccurring and used more than once. So that's another example of what kind of differentiates their doctor program from other discounts that they have available. On the next slide, you really want to think about your messaging to this audience. You want to be genuine. You don't want to seem like you're being opportunistic. So examples of some really great messaging are things like, thank you for caring for our families and our communities. These aren't people who see themselves as heroes. They're just out there doing their job because they care about people and they really want to help people. So Purple's messaging says, thank you to all of our doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals who give their all to support our public health. So that's a very caring message. It's focused on community and public health. And they did a really nice job with that. On the next slide, we'll look at some of the channels that are available to you. Paid campaigns are fantastic. Retargeting can be really successful. I'll look at paid social a little bit more. But we're also seeing a lot of brands are making a lot of headway and really spreading the word about their programs through their internal channels. So Purple has done PR. You can see that they've gotten coverage in CNN and Business Insider. They have the offer in their footer, which is really important. It makes it easy for people to find the offer if they do see it somewhere else online and they come looking for it. They also have it on their blog. They sent an email to their own email list, which is great because not only does it educate people about the discount that's available, but it also spreads a lot of that goodwill that Kara was talking about earlier, meeting that demand that we're seeing from consumers for brands to reach out and to really help these communities. They also have it in their affiliate program and on their social media page. So we'll take a look at those too. On the next slide, another way to really reinforce your messaging and to show that you care about these communities is to partner up with different organizations that are out there doing good work and supporting healthcare workers and people who are on the front lines. So Erin mentioned that Seed is helping by sourcing and importing PPE, which is really important and fantastic. And Purple has been working with local hospitals like Altaview Hospital, and on World Health Day, they brought in food and just some pick-me-ups to those doctors and nurses as a thank you for skipping meals and losing sleep and putting themselves at risk during the pandemic. On the next slide, you can see examples from their social media campaign. Again, this is a really nice job with the messaging to the true heroes who continually skip meals, lose sleep, and put themselves at risk to fight the pandemic. Thank you. We did have another client who launched a 5-day campaign that was primarily advertised on social media, and that they reported that the results were comparable to the weekend of Black Friday. Another client launched an offer on social media on Instagram and on Facebook, and within 4 hours, they'd had 14,000 likes, and they sold out of their product within 6 hours. So if you have an active, engaged social media following, that can be a really simple way to spread the word and get the message out about your discount and your offer. If you're doing paid social, there's some examples over here on the left that kind of tell you some different demographics and interests that you can use to build some of those audiences and get your paid campaign started. Then on the next slide, we have just a little bit about affiliate programs, and this is my last example. Affiliate programs are something that has been overlooked by a lot of our clients, but it can be really effective and a really simple way to advertise your program. Purple has published it in LinkShare, and they've gotten a lot of pickup from publishers. Publishers are actively looking for these types of offers and discounts right now. They want to promote them, so it's a great way to make it easy for people to find. Crazy Coupon Lady is just one example of someone who picked up Purple's offer. Purple's reported that over 25% of their sales have been driven by their affiliate program. And we have another retailer who launched a discount. It was up for 2 days. It was only advertised through affiliates, and they saw nearly 100,000 verifications in 2 days. So an affiliate program is a great thing to think about. And those are all of the tactics and best practices I have for reaching doctors today.
Great. Thank you, Angela. And thank you, Kara and Erin. Appreciate it. I know we're up on time. So, and in the interest of time, what I'll do is add the kind of the final few things here in an email. We've touched on this in our previous series, but a program that Share ID is running, just something that we've created to help give back to the medical community alongside our customers. So I'll make sure to include that. There was a question around the PowerPoint. Yes, that will be shared in that email as well, along with the recording. So you can be on the lookout for that for tomorrow. And any questions we didn't get to, I can share those through the email also. And then just to touch on this last point here, especially because Angela had mentioned PR and how it was a great opportunity for Purple in her example, we are doing a press release May 18th. And we've, similar to what we did for military appreciation and teacher appreciation, we just like to highlight our customers and their offers. And this has been very helpful in terms of spreading the offer and the word. So if this is something you'd like to participate in, we just need a 25-word description of your offer with the call to action and your unique offer link. And if you want to participate, just make sure you send it to this email by Tuesday. And I've also included an example in the follow-up email. I'll include our last couple press releases so you can see the deals that were highlighted there. And last but not least, we hope to see you at our next strategy session in 2 weeks, and it will be how brands are supporting teachers. So thank you everyone for your time today, and have a great rest of your afternoon.